Good evening and welcome. Make sure to hit subscribe for more creepiness and hit the bell to be notified of new videos. Let's begin. This week's story is actually a whole lot of stories all from the same post, even if it does sound like different stories. Enjoy! These are all true stories. If you believe it or not, I don't care. Yeah, I believe in ghosts and shit like that, but I don't go around screeching it to the world. This is pretty much just going to be me listing my experiences that either I can't explain, I don't know if it was real, or I can't believe it. Alrighty, I'ma just get into it then. Yeah, I'm gonna name them because I feel like it. Come at me. The physical nightmare. This is the first experience I can remember that I don't really understand or can explain the circumstances or anything. Right then, let's get this started. Once when I was very young, about the age of 9, it was my bedtime as per usual and I went to bed. That night I had a dream that I was pushed onto the ground and was bleeding since, I got cut. I can't remember anything else about that dream, or even if it continued or whatever, but I remember waking up with bruised palms and knees. I never pieced it together. Sure, I could have sleepwalked and tripped or something, but I've never ever sleepwalked in my life. My parents are very light sleepers and wake up at the slightest noise, so the fact that our floorboards are creaky old wood just helps my point. So even if I did sleepwalk and trip, wouldn't I wake up as well? Also, wouldn't my parents have woken up to that loud of a thud? The impossible flames. This one I remember very, very clearly. One fateful night, I went to bed as usual. My bed was closest to the window. In fact, the foot of my bed was actually facing the window. So I slept just fine. Better than fine, actually. Then I woke up to a strange crackling noise. It was familiar. Every time I go camping, I always wake up to that same noise. Fire. So I sat up in my bed, in awe. From right outside the large window, beckoning blood-red flames shot up, covering the window. In my unbelief, I lightly touched the glass, seeing if it was hot. It wasn't. It was as cold as ice, colder than usual. So I got closer to the window and looked down, hoping not to see the bottom of the house on fire. It also wasn't. So I rushed to my dad and woke him up, informing him of the flames. He jolted from his bed and ran into the room me and my brother at the time shared. The flames were gone. Just gone. Just like that, they disappeared, never to be seen again. The unknown static. In all my life, I have heard many, many strange noises, but this one confused me the most. Most static sounds come from my TV or other electronic devices in the house, and my parents fix quickly. However, this one was different. Sometimes my parents forget to turn off the TV when they go to bed, and I go turn it off. So hearing a strange static coming from downstairs didn't alarm me. I slipped out of bed tiredly and opened my door. The thing about my house is that it is very small. My room is right beside the stairs, which happen to be 3-step, which leads to the living room. The TV to the left of the stairs and couch and such across from it against the back wall. I walked down our stairs into the dark living room. It was really cold, but I didn't really care. I looked at the TV, it was pitch black and turned off. Static still buzzing. I got confused and got closer to the screen and whatnot to see if it got louder and to find the source. Still the exact same volume as before, not getting louder or quieter. At this point, I was tired and confused and thought, maybe it's coming from the kitchen. So I inspected the kitchen, walking around it, looking for the source of the sound, still the exact same volume as before. So I was now a bit worried, thinking maybe it was just my ears doing a very strange type of ringing. Then I went back up the short stairs. It got quieter. How could this static be louder in all of downstairs and the exact same volume everywhere, yet quieter, almost silent, upstairs? I stepped downstairs. It got louder. Upstairs, quieter. I was now too tired to think whatever else it could possibly be and went to bed. placing a pillow over my head to block the remaining almost silent but still audible static. I haven't heard it since. The predictions. Ever heard of déjà vu? How when you see something and you recognize it even though you truly have never seen it? Well, this is kind of my form of that. I personally get déjà vu all the time. Too often if you ask me. But recently, I felt a bit more strange. Sometimes I'll be thinking to myself about something or other, and someone will then break into conversation with me in which they will then address the thought I just had. Of course, in my head I'm thinking, wow, they just said exactly what I'm thinking. But I know they don't have any actual proof to prove this strange coincidence. You may be thinking that, yeah, that is kind of cool, I guess. It's just a coincidence. But in my case, this happens way too often to be a coincidence. Perhaps it's just my mind predicting the words someone might say, but there are plenty of words, and it would be quite the phenomenon for those words to match up ever so perfectly this many times in a row. I don't think I'm psychic or anything really special, but I do find it quite strange that this happens at least 3 times a day. The focus. This one might be pretty long, so hang in alright. It's actually 4 short stories. I guess it's more of abilities, but not like super, if that makes sense. Number 1. Fast fingers. I know it probably isn't very strange or weird and might actually be typical, but I have an absolutely terrible memory. I forget things very easily, and that sometimes gets me into trouble. However, sometimes when I am typing, my fingers will go so fast that I can't even tell what I'm typing until they stop. Now, you've seen fast typing. Your parents probably type pretty fast. However, I will think of a sentence and my fingers will go as fast as I can think, and I'm a very slow typer usually, so this surprised me as much as anyone. Number 2. Math vision. Jeez, that sounded cheesy. This one made me almost proud of myself. I'm sure it's just coincidence, but it made me smile a little. My math teacher had a list of large numbers such as 100, 62, 79, 55, 97, and so on, written on the whiteboard. My job was to put these numbers in order from lowest to highest and find the median, their number in the middle. So I looked at the board, not really thinking at all, and looked at the number. 49. That was the number. Then my vision got very strange. Think of very small tunnel vision where the end of the tunnel is this number. Everything but that number was blurry, almost like it was pointing to it. So I wrote down 49 on my paper out of instinct and proceeded to move with the class. The teacher then pointed out that the median was 49 and pointed to it. My jaw was so close to dropping to the floor. I smiled to myself, knowing no one would believe me if I told them anyway. The neat part is that I had never even looked at or seen these numbers or had any hint at what they were. Number 3. Unforgettable forgetting. Weird title, huh? Yeah, it makes sense when you read the rest. Sometimes I will do something important, something that most people would never forget. And it's this obliviousness that could cause either pain or laughter later on. For example, let's say 2 people get married. One forgets about the anniversary and doesn't get anything for their spouse, therefore causing pain and damage to the relationship. As an example of the funny part, 2 best friends are hanging out together and messing around per usual. One friend pushes the other friend a bit too hard, causing the other friend to get hurt. The other friend forgets about this, and the first friend reminds them. The other friend then makes a joke and laughs it off. When this happens to me, I usually remember the fact that I forgot something and it frustrates me that I did, therefore causing me to take it out on others unintentionally. Number 4. Reading faster than my eyes. Yeah, I know how stupid that sounds, alright? Just read the rest, you'll get it. Sometimes when I'm reading, I will go fast. Too fast. So fast I feel as if I'll stumble and have to start the sentence again. And that's pretty regular. But sometimes that doesn't happen. Keep in mind I have never even gave so much as a glance to what I'm reading before. Sometimes I will know the words. I'll read them, but I won't actually see them. It's like my eyes are just behind what I'm actually reading and aren't on the same word. But I will know the words and picture them like when you do any time you read. It's like I'm reading so fast my eyes can't keep up. Trust me, I know how stupid that sounds. The cognition of the past. Alright, don't be getting all freaked out. I wasn't possessed by a demon or anything, alright? One fateful night, the wind rushed by my window, my room cold and dark. I slept quietly, soft murmurs coming from my mouth. Peaceful. I was peaceful. But the dream that was flooding my peaceful sleep was quite the opposite. I held a heavy gun. It was dark, but not black. Dark green, maybe? I was holding it in a strange way, an attractive way, but not making myself attractive. The gun was in an attractive position. I most certainly was not attractive. My body was covered in a dark green fabric, my pants saggy, my shirt tight, but not too much. And my black boots. My boots were comfortable, just the right amount of tight, but the toes, steel toes. I stood there, the ground dusty, sandy. I didn't feel my hair. My head was hot, but no long hair. I used my peripherals to look side to side, seeing others wearing the same as me, but one thing was different. They were all male, and much taller too. I didn't really have control of my body. It felt strange. We then practiced shooting a target from long distance, someone yelling at us angrily. We then did a variety of terrible exercises, and I felt like I was about to throw up, my body covered in sand and sweat. One of the men gave me a high five and said, "Nice job, last name," with a devious smile. I giggled. My giggle was weird. It didn't feel like mine at all. Wait, my name wasn't last name. Then I jolted up in bed, breathing heavily, as well as being soaked in sweat. Later that day, my mum came home with a man, introducing him as, let's call him Jack. He was short, but I didn't care. I happily shook his hand and smiled. Even later in my room, he told me that he had been in the Marines, and that his name was Jack, last name. I never had the guts to ask him or tell him about any of what I had just dreamed. It is entirely up to you whether you believe any of this or not. However, this is just me telling the most truth I possibly could. This has been my experience with the unexplainable. I hope you enjoyed reading this. I certainly enjoyed them. I hope you did too. Normally I would have broken in between each story, but that would have ruined the flow of the post. There's a lot to dissect here, which I'm not going to do for a change. I'll let you guys make up your own minds. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. There you have it, friends. Let me know your opinions in the comments down below. You can also follow me on Twitter and chat with me over at the Opinionated Outcast Discord server. If you really like what I do, consider supporting me on Patreon, where there are rewards, sneak peeks, and all the juicy goodies. All links are in the description box below. Thank you, and good night.